This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content, and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode does not contain spoilers, but does mention the Shatter King, Daughter of the Forest, and Final Fantasy XVI. For full list, please see show notes.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, your weekly deep dive into the fantasy, literature, and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are welcoming a very special guest and our new friend, Charlie N. Holmberg,
who is a best-selling fantasy author and Wall Street Journal best-selling author. And we will be discussing her newest release, The Shattered King. Welcome, Charlie.
Welcome.
Hi, I am Charlie Holmberg. I'm the Amazon charts and Wall Street Journal bestselling author of fantasy and romance fiction, and I'm happy to be here.
Well, we are very excited, and thank you so much for taking the time. We are here to discuss, spoiler-free, Charlie's new release, The Shattered King, which I have here in my hands. Absolutely wonderful. Now, it is no surprise to listeners, but I am a fan. I have read several of Charlie's series. I am very excited to have this. This is a little fangirl moment for me. So again, welcome. But this new release here, fantastic stuff. I have to say, just right off the bat, the through line of family and sisterhood was something that I was not expecting, and something that was absolutely delightful. To have a voice in the back of your head and have that actually be something as wonderful as, well, and terrible as something that has happened here is just interesting and new and very exciting to read. So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for this experience? Where did this come from?
Oh, yeah, sure. Actually, it's really funny with this book because this book does not follow my normal writing process at all. And so, yeah, it was different and weird. I'm a big outliner. I like to have notebooks full of all my notes. I have Post-it notes up on my wall, and then I write out my outlines and I follow my outlines. And this book was 90% discovery written, which is, I have never understood discovery writers in my lifetime. And so for those who don't know, that means I basically, I had the idea of what I was doing and I just wrote it by the seat of my pants. And so, yeah, it's kind of a funny story. I was playing Final Fantasy XVI with my husband. And at the time I was working on a book called Charlie and Holmberg's Book of Magic. It's a craft book that I released last year. And in the back of that book, there are a bunch of appendices that you can use to help you with your magic systems. And one of them is a list of commonly used magic systems in fantasy. And the point of this list is threefold. And the first is that you can pick something off this list and write a book that has a very low learning curve. So you could pick vampires. And the first line of your book could be I ran through the alley away from the vampire. Instantly, you know what's at stake because you instantly know what a vampire is, right? The second one is that you can take one of those magics and twist it in some way. So sticking with vampires, this is what Stephanie Meyer did with Twilight. She took something we knew and put her own special twist on it. Or number three, you can look at this list and avoid it entirely if you want to be super duper Brandon Sanderson unique. Okay. And generally speaking, I usually do number three, but I was okay, Charlie, take your own advice. How would you take one of these and make it interesting? And I picked healing. And almost immediately I came up with this idea of the magic that's in this book. And because I was playing Final Fantasy, there's a character in there named Joshua, who's a prince who's very sick. And I was I'm going to steal you and I'm going to put you in this book. And then I was on vacation and my outline wasn't anywhere near done, but I just felt this push, you need to work on this book right now. I just had to start working on it. And so I did, and I wrote it in 15 days.
Whoa.
Whoa. That first draft wasn't great, but I did write it.
But it's out. That's amazing. Congratulations. That is such
so
a feat.
Cool. You just like word vomited. You know how cool that is. Do you? Is this like the first time you've ever?
I don't think it will ever happen again.
I was like, is this like the norm? Like, oh yeah, I just pump out a book every 15 days.
No, it was a fever dream. It was like I was having like a midlife crisis that year, and that was like a fever dream in the middle of it. And so, yeah, I mean, I fixed it since then. I've added like 25,000 words to it since then too, but.
Casually.
Yeah, it's really funny because casually. What's funny is I got orphaned that year too, which means my editor left my publisher and we hadn't gotten a new one yet. And I wanted my publisher to pay attention to me. So without even running spell check on this book, I was like, oh, hey, I have this new book. Do you want to see it? And they're like, yeah, sure. And so I sent it to them and they changed my entire publishing schedule to make it come out first. So this happened just over a year ago. And then I have a book that's called The Hedge Witch's Cure for Marriage that was supposed to come out this fall, and it got pushed back so that this book would come out this fall. Hopefully that means there's something about it.
I'm just in shock and awe, and that you were like still rallying, because I have to feel like there's all the internal politics when it comes to working with publishers, and when you don't have that editor, because typically when you have that editor, you're like, this is my person who's my line of communication and my cheerleader for this like work that we're doing together. And then you're like, wait, but I still have this really cool thing, and help me. And they were like, you're right, you do have this really cool thing. It's so cool, we're gonna move it up.
I had a really great foster editor who was from Montlake, and that was so my publisher is part of Amazon, and Montlake does their romance branch. I'm with the speculative fiction branch, and so she was really great too. And actually, right when I was like, oh hey guys, they were hiring my now editor, and so it was like kismet. It was just like perfect timing across the board.
Speaking of perfect timing, this book kind of popped into our lives when we needed it, because this was a surprise. This was delightful. This was new and exciting. Can you tell me, I mean, we're keeping this spoiler free, but I mean, I have to talk about this. Can you tell me where the idea of the Loomis came from?
Yeah, actually, I will also say, thank you so much for saying it's new and exciting, because that was something I was so worried about, because this is the tropiest trope book I feel like I've ever written. And so, like,
there's nothing wrong with tropes. Tropes are wonderful.
I like teach myself to like embrace it, Charlie. You just embrace it. Everybody likes the one bed. That trope isn't in this book. I'm sorry, everyone. But, I mean, I guess kind of it is, but not really at the end. So yeah, the loop, like, I wish I could tell you exactly what, because that was what I came up with when I was like waiting for my husband to finish fighting this monster, because I don't do the fighting on video games. And I was like, how would I do healing? Like, what would be a cool way to do healing? And it's like, I thought through a few things, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool, like, if there was like something like a metaphor for your body, like a dreamlike space that you could go in and you actually fix that and it fixes your body. Like, I couldn't tell you exactly where it came. Divine inspiration. And so it was really fun to play around with. I got a piece of paper that I was like, I'm just going to write down a bunch of weird things I could use to make these Lumiere, which is the plural version, and just like pick them whenever I need them. And so, for people listening, they're probably confused. So the way healing works is that a healer has to touch you, and they go into your Loomis, and it's a unique liminal space that represents you. And it could be anything. It could be like a painting. It could be a wall. It could be an anthill. It could be a cake. And whatever's hurting you is going to show up in that Loomis. So if your Loomis is a cake, maybe some of the frosting's dripping off the side. And so they go in and they magic up the frosting, and then your ailment is cured. So that's what we're talking about.
But also very specifically, and this, just you talking about your experience writing this book too, is that our character, our healer, Nim, very specifically says that she heals the body only. Mm-hmm. And that your mental health is something that requires like a different kind of healing. Like, she can't really do that. So when someone is having a panic attack, for example, it's like you just have to talk through this. Like, come on, focus on me, kind of like, person to person. There's nothing that I can do to help you here. And I think that emphasis too, especially because like the Loomis, as you've written it, there's a conversation about, well, is it the representation of the soul? I mean, there's that conversation that's happening. And then the through line of, I can heal your body, your mental health is your own, you have to grow, is a really beautiful journey for, I think, both of our main characters that they go on. Can you tell us a little bit of how these wonderful characters came to be? Did they call to you because you were writing by the seat of your pants?
Yeah. So I thought I really did like the template. He ended up changing a bit on his own, but the template for Ren, who is my main male character, was 100% Joshua from Final Fantasy 16. I will readily admit that I just stole him and just gave him a stronger nose because I don't like weak noses on men. But for Nim, I wish I could remember exactly how, but like I said, it was like a fever dream. I needed it to be hard on Nim because Nim is essentially conscripted in chapter 1, like a war draft to go to the palace or castle, I should say, and try to heal this guy. Like, everybody has to try to heal this prince who's been sick for 20 years. And I needed it to suck. I needed it to not be easy for her, and so I gave her like a whole bunch of siblings and I made her poor, and like visually, I don't know why, but I think it's the original cover for Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Marillier. That image was just in my head. And so like visually, that's where I went with her as well. And even when I'm outlining, though, with my characters, I always have like the basic foundation. Like I know I need them to be A, B, C, D. And then everything else, I kind of discovery, right? Even when I'm outlining, it's like, what does the story need? How does this fit in? How is it going to react? And so I think a lot of that was like both of them, and it's like, Ren, like he has such a hard life. He's been living with a chronic illness, but he's also still royalty. So I still need him to be kind of I was like, what can I say on this podcast?
Anything you want.
Well, I'll say the nicer douchebag, he's still going to be kind of a prick sometimes, but like Nim also, she's got eldest sister syndrome, and so she's also going to be like bossy and be like, no, do it this way. And she's had to be a mom for the last 8 years as well.
Are you an eldest sibling? Are you the eldest daughter?
I am not.
Really?
I am the second eldest. I'm quasi eldest.
No, and I ask because the way you write Nim is so like, yes, she has like the eldest daughter trope. Yes, she's taking care of the family. Yes, she has the eldest daughter guilt, but it's not the way you write it. It's not like, I'm the eldest daughter. I'm in your face. These are all my strifes. It's very much, it's like the small nuances of even when she's in like, yes, she was conscripted to go to the castle and try, use her healing abilities. But also when she was in a comfortable place, she was like, I'm not getting paid, so I can't send money back. And her hands are tied. She can't leave. And there's this other voice in her head, not her sister in these moments where she's like, do you want to go back? She's like, I really should go back, but I don't want to because of the responsibility and the burden that comes with taking care of a family of 8, And it's just, there's so much subtlety in the experience where I was like, there's no way. Charlie is like, she has to be an eldest daughter. So I'm so shocked where I was like, oh, like how did you feel that your older siblings, because you said you're the second, like, do they share those experiences with you that added to this?
I mean, I'm very close to my older sister. She's about 2.5 years older than me, right? And so, like, I definitely have like seen her being the older sister. For a while she moved out, and then I was the older sister, and like I'm a mom, and I get how that works too. But honestly, I do think that a lot of being an author is a lot of being an actor. It's like you have to get into the heads of different people. And like, this is my 26th book. And I really don't want to get into the habit of writing the same characters over and over and over again. And so a lot of it, it's like, what's that thing called where method acting? You're like method acting. You're like, again, I'm going to say fever dreaming on a page. Like, that's like people like to joke, like when you're an author, you're just hallucinating on a page and the people in your head are talking to each other. But like, there's a lot of truth to that, so I'm glad that she came across accurately.
Oh, yeah. It was like because it was just so subtle. And, I think you write in such a beautiful way that it's very show, not tell. And that comes across in The Shattered King too.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Tell your friends.
Oh, that's what we're doing here.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. We are telling everybody. And I really love the representation of the Loomis and how everybody, there's a line here that says, even the royals, they can put decoration on everything. Their soul doesn't change. It's not any better than anybody else's. There's an equality in the soul. So then when Nim ends up dowsing with Ren and she sees what she's working with, it is a surprise to her. And it is then not a surprise that all of these healers for all of this time have not been able to help this poor prince. And he is much more than he seems, as his mother says. Don't you know what he is? Yes. Well, we do by the end, and that is fantastic. Fantastic. But the journey to get there. So we have like a multi-layered story. So we have a story about a healer and a man with a chronic illness and trying to piece together, the Shattered King, we're piecing together all of his parts. But then we also have, an eldest sister taking care of her family. We have war. So can you tell me, because I'm looking here and I have in this book in my hands, there is a map here. So can you tell us what it was like creating this world, coming up with these rules, these politics, and drafting this map?
Yeah, let me tell you, this is the downside to A, discovery writing, and B, writing about royalty. So this is the first time I've ever had royals as main characters in any of my books. Like, I generally am much more interested in the footmen and the scullery maids, right? And so when I hate writing war, I hate political intrigue, like I hate war, like I hate it. And I never intended this to go the war route, but I'm like, as I'm writing it, I'm like, oh no, war is happening. And so that made book 2 a little bit harder. It's easy when you have one viewpoint character and she is not a soldier. It helps a little. But yeah, so that was hard. I don't remember what the rest of your question was. Just like, war. It sucks to write.
Actually, can you, no. Now I'm just interested. Can you expand a little bit? Like, what about? Is it just like tedious? So you just have to like pull lots of things together?
Yeah, like it's just not in my interests, Like there's lots of things like that I am happy to like learn and figure out. Like I've had twice now where I've had to write a character who's smarter than me, and 2.5 times. And like that's its own like hard thing to do, but that's not as hard to do as it is to like just like have to dive into something that is going to make your story good, but that like I just am not personally interested in, Like when book club's like, oh, we're going to read this book on World War II. I'm like, peace. I'm out.
Skipping that month.
I mean, it depends, I guess, on what parts we're talking about, but it's just like hard. And it's like, I want it to be good, but I'm so unmotivated to learn how to make it good. And so, which is so funny to say, because whenever like I do finally like dive in and be like, okay, we're going to make this good, because I refuse to do it crappy. Like I will always find something interesting, right? I will always learn something new. And so, yeah, but originally, like, this whole book was supposed to just be like, oh, yeah, I need her life to be hard, and I need to get rid of the sibling who would help her the most, so he's going to go to war. But it's only going to be little border skirmishes. And then I got to the end, and I was like, it would be a great climax. And then, yeah, and then just like, and then like, what the funny thing is, it's like, I didn't totally know what I was going to do with like the big reveal at the end. And then I was like, oh, I have to do war. Like, I have to make it bigger if I have to step up. And so, we can do hard things. It's what I tell my kids all the time.
We can do hard things. Tell me about drafting this map. Was that easy? Was that difficult?
Oh, let me tell you about how much I ripped off Final Fantasy 16 again. No, a little. So in Final Fantasy 16, they have, what is the word called? Dyadic continents, where they're like, it's like having like Canada and America. That's what I went off of anyway. But they're very, very close to each other, right? But they're vertical. So I just basically took them and turned them on their side. And I modeled it after Canada and America, and I just put a big channel in the middle because I wanted them to be very close. And what's so funny is because I just dived into this book, I didn't do a lot of world building, which is funny because that's what I'm known for, is my world building. And I was like, whatever, I just want to write this book. I'm going to make this the most vanilla fantasy I've ever written in my life. And so I did. I'm like, I just went straight medieval England / America, Canada, and just wrote and like just poured everything out that I could. But like little again, like it's like building a character, right? Like little things would definitely come up and like casually add to the world building, like the gods were there in the first draft and everything like that. But then in subsequent drafts, when I went back to fix it, and when, I made my character active in the climax, which is important, I would go back and like, oh, it would be cool if I added cinctures. So everybody wears this cord that shows what god they have allegiance to. Oh, what would be cool is if I made Nim more other, because she's got super curly hair, thanks to that Juliette Marillier cover. Like, let's make everybody straighten their hair so that she's not like, in it. I'm like, oh, what would be so cool for the second book is if I did this. So I'm going to go back in and add marriage pendants for this whole, and I would just go in and make all these edits and to make like more of like a cultural world building. There's nothing like fantastic about the geography, but it did get there eventually. But usually that's like the first thing I do, So again, this book was just backwards.
No, not at all. Well, I was going to ask, so you had mentioned like, yes, we can all learn new things, and you're usually, an outliner, and you like to educate. You're like, I'll find something to learn about, to like make the writing better, which is incredible already. Cause I'm like, whenever we speak to authors, I'm like, you didn't think this was good? You think it had more edit? Like, this is amazing to us. But like, what did you learn about yourself being a discovery writer for this book that you were like, I didn't know I had that ability, or I learned that I never want to do that? Like, what did you take away from being a discovery writer for this one?
I would say, because I mentioned tropes earlier, I would say it's just like a reminder that sometimes like tropes are tropes for a reason. And if I embrace the things that I want to see and that just like carnally like speak to my id, that it'll do the same for other people as well. And so like I call this is one of my 2 id books. So Jennifer Lynn Barnes has this whole thing about writing to your id, and that's writing, the Freudian psychology, writing what you just carnally desire. And that's why Sarah J. Maas's books are so amazing, because all her books are id books. But before this, I would have said Hanging City was an id book for me. And what's so funny is I went back and looked at the outline of that, and I did outline that book, but not as much as I usually do. And so I was like, oh, maybe this is how I unlock my id brain, is I have to just like let it go. And what's so funny is I actually did it again with another book that I haven't sold yet. That's actually a little bit different from what I usually write, but I did it again where I have like the very loosest outline, and I'm like, I'm just going to go for it. And I don't think it's going to be my new normal. I think outlining is still always going to be my little safety net, because I'm the type A personality over here. But yeah, I think it helps me just to like embrace like the tiny little shred of type B that might be in there. It's like, well, what would be fun? Like, stop overthinking it and just like follow your heart kind of thing.
What would life be if you weren't type A? Like,
awful.
We'll never know. Yeah, we'll never know.
Yeah, you're like, what? Like, it sounds freeing.
It sounds a little stressful, honestly.
I don't know. It's very stressful being type A.
It's just true, but at least it's organized.
I feel like it's different stress. Like, both ways are stressful. They're just different kinds of stress. And I can handle my type A, I'm a precrastinator, not a procrastinator, stress better most of the time.
I love that we're all on the same page here. It's really fantastic. We're all just like, yeah. We can't. Wonderful stuff. So looking at the Shattered King, this is a romance. There is some romance here, and there's a little bit of close door action. There's a lot of adult themes here that I was not expecting, that I was very pleasantly surprised and were handled beautifully and kind of added this complex layer to our main character, Nim. And I thought was just fantastic. And there's like little hints of it in the beginning, and then we build and we build. And then when we're in our romance, and our romance is starting to bud, and Nim is saying no, the reader is like, why though? Why though? And of course, Red is like, why though? And then the vulnerability of finally expressing these emotions and sharing all of this vulnerable pain. Again, like healing comes in many forms, like not just physical, mental too. And sometimes you need to share that burden with somebody. Again, wonderful, beautiful depictions. A nod to you as a writer.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And it was
Truly.
And it's so fun to watch the different relationships grow and falter too. I mean, you see, you see Ren, and he becomes someone who's not solely relying on his family based on things that we're keeping spoiler free. And he's creating a voice for himself through this, which is strengthening. It's strengthening his relationship with Nim. Nim's kind of like all over she has her guard up. And I think Nim is somebody that a lot of readers can relate to, because you're like keeping people at a distance. Your emotions are there to protect you. And you hear their inner thoughts like, crap, no, why do I feel like that? Something's pulling at me, all the tropiest things in the best way possible. Because you, as the reader, you're like, and it's not, and you're watching them fall for each other, in a way that's like, have you ever seen Me Before You or read the book?
Yes, I've seen the movie.
Okay. So I feel like it's that, like there's contention between the relationship, but you're just like, you're waiting, and just to have your guard taken down, but still want to be protective. It was so exciting to I wanted to read it faster. And then I couldn't, because then I just wasn't, I was just looking at words and not comprehending the words. So I was like, what did happen? I'm just looking at words and I'm not like comprehending them. Let me go back. And I did that with the audio too. And I was like, let me rewind, let me co-read, let me do all the things. So again, testament to you, and thank you for that.
Thank you. And also, let's just say that Natalie Naudis did such a great job on that audiobook.
Wonderful. Wonderful. It was a fantastic audiobook, and the co-read was lovely. We have some mommy issues here. We have we have some pretty deep mommy issues, and on the surface, rightly so. I mean, it is difficult to watch someone be in pain, and then to try everything to alleviate that pain, and to repeatedly have that hope crushed. And that's another thing too, is the growth of hope throughout this book, and how nobody really wants to hope, because crushing that hope is so painful. And then you just go back into this. So the budding hope, and then to watch it flourish, was also absolutely fantastic too, talking about growth between our characters. But very specifically, and it's something that you addressed head on, is because this is like a romance on top of everything else. Our characters are falling for each other. Of course they are. And at one point, Nim puts her hand up and she goes, "Excuse me, sir, you would fall for anybody that was in this position. We are just with each other all of the time. We're constantly touching. You are mistaking your gratitude for this situation getting maybe a little better for actual real feelings." And that is something that I really appreciated. I appreciated her being like, actually though, let's address this, because that is something that could very well be happening. And I like how Ren was like, "Oh, yeah, no, I thought about that too." I was thinking about that too, but I came to this other conclusion. I really liked the acknowledgement that it wasn't something that either of them were blind to. Mm-hmm. It was like, yeah, but that's just how it's that's our forced proximity trope. But, you know, but we love that. We love that. And I really do like the communication there and how the communication continues between those two characters. There's secrets, but there's also so much more between them.
Thank you.
I also love when there's to go off what Laura was saying with the mommy issues, he gets to a point, also to go back to what I mentioned, he is going against his family and he's speaking up against his family. I mean, even when it comes to Nim, he's like, I don't trust my brother. It's not, I don't trust you with my brother. I don't trust my brother around you. What do you mean you're not getting paid? What do you mean these are your quarters? What is happening? All this stuff. And then he has a voice for her. And I feel like that should happen more. I think if you're on social media, you see a lot of stories where partners aren't sticking up for their significant other when it comes to families. To see this depicted in the story, that also, again, it goes back to his strength as a person, because he didn't want to have hope. Now he has hope. He understands that there's going to be bad days. He understands but at the end of the day, he has his own voice. He is becoming his own person. He's not subservient to anybody else. He is royalty, and he'll be damned if anybody speaks to Nim like that specifically. But I think his eyes are he's being exposed to a lot more because, you know, he has access to things now.
Yeah. And I also think that a lot of times when people are like handicapped or they're sick in some way, that we as a society have a tendency to infantilize them a little bit, you know? And so he's also like breaking out of those expectations that have been put on him as well. And so thank you. But yeah, I wanted that to come across.
He also becomes class conscious too. And his waking up to conditions outside of his room, outside of the castle, outside of everything, and even waking up to the way that Nim has been treated. She yells at him like, I'm sorry, you are treating me like a dog. And then after that situation, her life in the palace starts to improve a little bit, but he has no idea. So again, it is just this like, oh, my mother shouldn't have done this. This is how you're being kept. Absolutely not. You're going to be here. Tell me about your family. Oh my God, you're not getting paid. Oh my God. How, like, what? And so this is just my opinion. Of course, I don't need to tell you, but, to me, it's just like, he is becoming like, as Nim says, like who you would have been before all of this. And it's kind of like, so, you know, we talk about the soul and how we're kind of like trying to heal like our body. We can't heal mentally, but we're growing in confidence. We are kind of growing in our love. We are growing in importance in the palace as well. And again, all of these expectations, it is interesting and wonderful to see both of our characters handle all of this pressure in a realistic way, because they're not perfect. Like we are breaking down in the tub. We are having panic attacks. We are seeing people in markets that we do not want to see. And we are, I think one of the phrases that she used was like ripping scabs off and like really exposing all of this inner work that we thought we'd done, but is very raw. And all of that is in this book, which is very complex. Like I said, there's a lot of layers here. Again, a credit to you. My question would be, is there a specific way? I mean, I know that this was a fever dream pants kind of situation, but is there a way that you organized all of these plot lines? Or if not, because we're just going with it here, is there a way that you usually organize all of these different threads and plot lines in your stories?
You know, I think one of the benefits of discovery writing is that, you know, because like you don't know it all, right? Like I know I need to get them from point A to point B, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. And so you write a scene, you're like, well, I don't know what happens next. And it forces you to stop and think, okay, what would happen next? And you have to figure out what the next scene is going to be. You have to dig into the characters, because like maybe like the next big like outside plot point can't happen for like so much time, you know? So you have to dig into the characters like, well, how would she react to this? Well, how would she feel about this? You know, well, what could happen here? And it helps you. I think for me, it really helped me kind of dig down. Like, it forced me to dig down deeper and think, okay, how could I spin this? How could this all happen? And I think in that long run, it was very beneficial to the book.
Is there a scene that you took out that you still really like? However, it wouldn't have made sense to the story, or you're like, it felt like I really like the scene, but it doesn't drive anything. I'm going to take it out.
I had to do that in book 2. That there was a few things I was doing, and I'm like, no, because book 2 was suffering from saggy middle syndrome. And so I had to go in and add a lot of conflict. So there was definitely stuff I had to cut out of book 2, because it was like, well, you're suffering now. So it's like, this is the first time I had to cut out a makeout scene. But we need you to suffer more. I don't know if that happened in Shattered King, because the stuff that I did end up cutting was, let's be honest, lazy writing. Like I said, like originally, Nim isn't even present for that big thing that happens because she's still traveling. And then we're like, maybe we should fix this. And I'm like, you're right. And so I had to get her back sooner. So she was there for the thing that we're not talking about, which actually also I was able to add in. Like, what can I say? The thing that happens before the thing where she hopes and then her hope is broken.
Yeah.
And that it's really, really good that happened, because that's a big part of book 2 as well. And so also I get to, like, I love crushing people's hearts in fiction. And so every chance I get to do that, yeah, I like, it just brings me some kind of like sick sociopathic joy.
No, but I think
there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it. And I think it just attributes to like the impact that you have on your readers and reading your art. Cause that's ultimately what it is you're sharing your art with everyone, and we are digesting it and consuming it so quickly, because you're talking about book 2, and something that we're very much learning this year on ACOFAE podcast is advertising has been working for us. Like, the algorithm is like, so before I had even finished book 1, I'm getting advertisements for The Half-Hearted Queen, book 2. And I was like, I went into panic because I go, wait, when was this announced? How, like, The Shattered King has just come out. And then I was like, and The Half-Hearted Queen is right behind it with a March 2026 release date currently. And so how has that been, talking about book 1 while working on book 2? Has there been a lot of crossover? Have you felt like, wait, I need to refer back to book 1? Has there been confusion? Like, wait, am I allowed to? I mean, you caught yourself a couple times in keeping it spoiler free.
Yeah, because it's like I'm trying to figure. So book 2 was outlined a little bit more than book 1, but there are a lot of times where I'm like, oh, you know what? I actually need this. That I actually had to go back and tweak the magic system in book 1 to make book 2 work. Like little things like that. I was like, oh, and like I was like, oh, I know I could do this thing with Ren that I can't talk about, and so I had to go back and add. I don't think this is a spoiler. Ren has he's getting fitted for his, I think it's his birthday ball, where he's getting fitted for new clothing, and he has a scar that Nim asks about. That wasn't in there originally. But because of stuff in book 2, I'm like, oh, wait, I need to go back and add this scar. You
want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah.
And
or like the bars, the bars on his windows, I had to go back and add. And so it was really great to have them close together, because it gave me time to go. I'm like, oh, I can do this, and I have time to make it happen instead of just like putting Band-Aids on, like to close out. You're like, oh, this could be a loophole. Like, how sometimes readers get really, really critical, and you're like, this doesn't make sense. How did this happen for you? You're like, oh, but the window, I guess the turnaround time helped, and everything stayed fresh. Yeah. Yeah. So, cause I think I was starting, I want to say I was at least outlining or figuring out Half-Hearted Queen when I was in my dev edit phase for Shattered King, but I also know that when I was in my copy edits, I had to go back in and add some stuff because like I didn't know what the big like why is he broken, right? Like, because like it's not what we think, and so I didn't really totally know, and I had to figure that out for for the half-hearted queen. And so it gave me a chance to be able to just have this through thread instead of having to like fake and band-aids things to make what I wanted to happen.
I know we are almost done. We are almost wrapped, but I have a very selfish question. And that is, do you like bees?
Ever since I started watching that lady on like, I always see her on Facebook. I imagine she's on TikTok too, where she has this very calm voice, and it's another day of saving the bees.
Yes. Yeah. I've seen her on TikTok, and and the bees don't sting her. She's just casually
loving
with her hives.
No, it's because of her that I was able to figure out half the stuff in this book. I also I like writing, like, I'm always trying to find what's a cool, like, profession I haven't done yet. What's a cool occupation that I could do? And then again, discovery writing this, I'm like, how are we going to do the healing? Right? And I didn't know until I was almost there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's another day of helping the bees. And I figured it out, and so, yeah. So, I mean, honestly, like legit, the reason bees are even in my head is because of that lady. I wish I knew her screen name so I could give her a shout out, but I don't.
We'll find out and put it in show notes. Don't worry. Awesome. We will credit her because the inspiration is very important. I particularly really liked the bees. Not that I like bees a lot, but I like that Nim she was like a beekeeper. She's like, no, I am a beekeeper. This is this thing that I do. And then not only does she say it, she goes home, she does it, she problem solves, she takes that knowledge that she learned and applies it to her healing and all of this like really intricate knowledge. So I was wondering, I was just like, oh, when you were talking about learning new things for research, I was like, did you sit down and like look at the constructs of a beehive and like a queen and like a new queen and all that stuff? Yeah.
My favorite thing to do is to get juvenile nonfiction books because they are to the point and have pictures. And so I had all these bee books from the library.
That's so smart. And it makes it like just easier to digest and like not, because I feel like that's the other thing is like sometimes there's just so much knowledge out there that it can be overwhelming when you're just like, oh, I want to create this fun fact. And then the young adult books, they make it so palatable. And it also adds to conversation when you're like, whether you're at work or with anybody, you're like, fun fact, guess what? I'm that like weird person at work. I was like, did you know that the reason the buttons are on this side of the shirt than the other? And everyone's looking at me. I was like, maybe I should not learn fun facts anymore.
No, you're inspiring them. Somebody's going to use that in the future.
I learned today that the doctor sign with the snake and the thing is a caduceus.
That's the name for it?
That's the name for it. A caduceus.
I thought you were going to say that you learned today you can't milk bees. No, you don't milk bees.
I would love to. He was a joke in that whole book. I'm so sorry.
He was like, you milk bees?
Oh, and it pissed her off too. She was like, actually, fantastic.
It was so good. He's like, I got you to react. Then you're like, there's that prince.
There we go. Just wonderful. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you so much for taking the time. We are recording this on a Friday, so we really, really appreciate you taking the time. We know everybody's busy. We have discussed book 2 a little bit, but can you tell us where we can find you on socials, if you've got events coming up? Pitch yourself. Tell us everything.
Yeah, so you guys can find me at Charlie N. Holmberg, that's HOLMBERG, .com. You can sign up for my newsletter there. I am across pretty much all social media at CN Holmberg, but I am the most active on Instagram. And you can find my books in bookstores, or you find them on Amazon. You can get signed copies on my website as well. Let's see, I'm like, oh, I have an event tomorrow. This won't be up in time for that. If you're in Utah, I am going to be at the Springville Library on December 6th, and I am going to be at Dragonsteel Nexus on the 4th and 5th. And then I am a guest of honor at Life, the Universe, and Everything in February, and that's in Provo. So they're all stateside for now.
Congratulations. That's so exciting. You were very booked. And That's so exciting. And just in time to set up, because if you have, you're going into February and then we're going into book 3 or book 2 in March, the 3rd month. See,
I know I'll probably even have copies. Maybe I'll do something with that.
How fun. Oh my gosh. Again, thank you so much for taking the time. We're talking The Shattered King, and that is out now with book 2 coming out in March. Oh my gosh, we're so excited. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye. And please make sure you're following Charlie on all of her socials. We'll make sure we have those in the show notes. And as always, feel free to follow us on Instagram. We're at ACOFAE Podcast. And we're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.